All right, let's go to Ryan in Arlington, Virginia. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, Dr. John. How are you today?
I'm good, brother. What are you up to, man?
Oh, not much. Little nervous.
Hey, I promise I'm more nervous than you.
Hey, so I got a question for you. That question would be my communication skills. I'm just going to get right to it.
I have a question, and that question would be, all right, go ahead. Hey, we're in it together, man. What's up?
All right. So my communication skills are just horrible.
You don't say. You don't say.
I don't say. Yeah. And I feel like it's interfering with some of my marital life, and then a little bit in personal life, just with like some family members and stuff. Just I don't know. I'm not able to communicate my feelings that great. It's caused a lot of stress, I think, in the marriage. Sometimes when my wife, has something that's bothering her, I'm not really there for her like I should be.
Why? Or let me put it this way: communication is a skill set, right? It's something we learn, it's something you practice, and you get better at over time. And you have to have two people that communicate, right? You can't just be one person dumping into this endless, bottomless pit. Okay,
right.
The other side of it is the way you're laying it out for me is that you've got this singular challenge, and it's causing problems all through your life, but you're not doing the little things like communicating.
Right.
So what is not communicating getting you? Because it gets you something.
I feel safe for not communicating, I guess.
Okay. What are things you wish you could communicate that you're not communicating?
Sometimes my own feelings. My wife, she's a little bit of an anxious person too, but I feel like sometimes communicating my thoughts and feelings might put a big load on her that I don't know if she is ready to handle or anything like that.
So I want to dig into that, but let me say this. Anxiety is often a function of disconnection. And that's some nerdy talk to say, if your wife knows something's going on inside of you, she feels that. And when you don't tell her or can't tell her or shy away from the conversation, her body starts sounding the alarms that something's wrong. That something is probably wrong with her. She needs to fix something so that the relationship with you is okay. And my guess is that's a pattern that's been a part of her life for a long, long time, because we usually marry our own messes. And so I would suggest the opposite. Truly saying what you need and what you're thinking and what you're feeling will potentially give her, maybe at first it'll spark, it'll put some oxygen on the fire, it'll make it brighter and a little bit taller, but over time that it will truly connect you to, and the anxiety will go down. See how this gets self-reinforcing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the things that you're not telling her? What are your thoughts and feelings that you're holding back? And let me say it this way. The only way through this, dude, the way to practice communication is being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not your thing. So do it here.
Yeah.
Say it. Do it.
There were some things like when we got married fairly young into the relationship. So like 3 months of dating, we got married.
Woo. How old are you?
A year. I'm 30.
How long y'all been married?
6 years.
Okay.
A year into our marriage, we had our first child, and then fast forwarding to now, we've got three child. So ages 5, 3, and 1. So a little bit of stress with that type of stuff. But we love our kids; they're great.
You liar! Go ahead.
We do love them.
I know you do. I know you do. I'm just messing with you.
We love them till they turn 18. Then we'll be glad to see them go, but still miss them, right? So, I don't know. I just have a hard time expressing my thoughts and feelings about things. Certain things, like maybe her, like she's real close to her family, and a lot of my values and beliefs don't really go fully against like what her family sees things, and it kind of puts her in the middle of things. And I feel like if I try to address those situations, then it puts her in a hard spot to try to pick between them or me.
Do you realize how you're treating her like your daughter a little bit? You're not giving her things like this morning. My family was we're meeting in Los Angeles, but they flew out this morning. I'm gonna fly out this afternoon, and my daughter was trying to carry this big suitcase and she couldn't carry it down the stairs, and so down into the basement, into the garage, and so I carried it down there for her because I'm her dad and I got bigger muscles than she does, and that's what you're trying to do with your wife. Your wife's a grown woman. She's married, mother of 3. I would guess she's a gangster.
Yeah.
And when you hold stuff back from her because you're worried that she can't, then you are making come true what you're hoping isn't going to happen, which is a woman who feels trapped between somebody who's not being honest with her and treating her like a kid, and a group of people who are never honest with her and who treat her like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Go back to the beginning. Y'all are married, but y'all don't have much of a marriage, do you? Y'all run a daycare center together. Is that fair?
That's very fair.
Okay. Your marriage is in desperate need of y'all two dating each other. Because if you're desperately close to, I can hear it in you, you're desperately close to turning into roommates if you're not already, or co-workers who in a factory that makes children. And if you haven't already, you are a spider's web away from finding love somewhere else. And she is too. That just doesn't mean you're going to sleep with somebody else, but that means you're going to become a workaholic. That means you're going to become just that dad who just kind of disappears, or that dad who yells at middle schoolers who are reffing soccer games. And she's going to disappear on you too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Are you already there?
Pretty close. I think we're pretty close. I mean, she's told me multiple times that she would like to be able to sit down and talk with me, but like I just don't talk back. Like I'm just emotionally not available.
Why do you do that to her? Why do you do that to you? And I know asking the why question is something you're not supposed to ask in counseling, but we're not in a counseling session, so I'm just going to be direct. Yeah. Like, why? Why do you shut down?
I get really uncomfortable just trying to, talk with people about my feelings, and I don't know, like it doesn't matter, or I'm not sure to what extent, but
Who taught you that?
I don't know. I had great parents and good siblings. I was the middle child, so you can take that for what it's worth. Mom was a little bit anxious, but she supported us, and Dad was always real supportive. I was always a real shy kid.
Okay.
And, we was homeschooled up till, 6th or 7th grade, something like that. Had good friends with the family and who did some homeschooling as well, then went to public school. And I think going into public school, I was always kind of a smaller guy, height wise, and, pretty thin, and hearing a lot of comments about that from like other people.
Sure.
Around that age, it just made me feel like a ant in the world.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe.
I mean, you and I, man, we could have 50 different sessions together and hang out for a while and kind of mine it. Let's just take that one. That one seems plausible enough in this short time that we have together. You learned really early on, from middle school on, you should probably disappear. Or getting small is the best way to navigate tough situations. You avoid ridicule. You avoid people making fun of you. You avoid feeling less than like a loser. Just disappear. And now you're sitting across the table from your wife and mother of your 3 kids. and there's nowhere to hide. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does.
So you've heard me say this a million times on the show. The thing that kept you safe as a kid is now the thing that is setting your marriage on fire and is setting your parenting ability on fire, because you're passing this along to your kids too. And if you remember that feeling of feeling small and feeling not worth your space and feeling like I need to hide from myself so that I can avoid detection, you don't want your kids walking through life with that either. And it doesn't start with you teaching them how to do it. It starts with you doing it, standing up taller, speaking and being heard, and thinking my thoughts and my feelings are worth being heard, even when they're hard, even when they're going to cause problems. Because right now you're causing problems.
Right.
And it feels safe. It's kind of like, it's like holding your breath on a roller coaster. It feels safe, and eventually you pass out and die. You got to breathe, right? So at some point you have this conversation. You're either going to have it around a kitchen table where you're being honest and open, or you're going to have it with a divorce attorney.
Mm-hmm.
This conversation's coming, or multiple conversations are coming. And so here's my recommendation to you. Hey, well, let me back out a little bit. I've come at you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is hard. And the reason I'm coming at you is I just want to shake the snow globe a little bit and move that sediment from the bottom. It let you hear me tell you you are worth being heard. And the best way to help your wife is to be honest with her. The best way to heal yourself is to be honest with you. And you could have had the best parents on the planet. And still they say little things like, you're not hurt. You're fine. I know you want to eat here, but your brother's whining all the time. We're just going to eat here. I know you want to play. I know you made all-star team, but we got to get your sister over to this thing. And so you just learn from a young age that I matter a little bit less than everybody else. And that's going to be the end of you and your marriage. And so let's turn that sucker around. Will you commit to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Here is the way I have navigated this in my life. Is when I have to have the thoughts and feelings conversation, especially early on. Now it's not a thing, but especially early on when I was learning this skill. I say early on, like 5 years ago, so not very long ago, is I wrote it all down, and there was multiple times my wife and I read to her while we were sitting down talking. Because I didn't want to miss anything. I didn't want to get loud. I didn't want to get too quiet. I didn't want to just be weird or stumble through. So I just wrote it down and I read it. Here's what I'm feeling. Here's what I think. Here's what I need. If you start with just those three things, here's what I feel, here's what I think, here's what I need, that's a great place to start.
Okay.
And then tell your wife, we're going to send the kids away. You find the babysitter, not her. Okay? You find the babysitter and say, hey, we're going to spend a couple hours together because I love you. And I think it's fair to use the language. We run a daycare and I'm interested in being married.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all are going to have to date each other again, man. Y'all have never really dated.
Yeah, I know.
When's the last time y'all got away and just had a barn burner romantic weekend where you couldn't find clothes and the wallpaper peeled off the hotel room? When's the last time?
It's been probably at least a year.
Okay. You're worth that for whatever it's worth.
Yeah.
Not that's the end all be all. You're also worth quiet walks in the woods, man. Like just getting away and doing whatever it is y'all do. I'm just saying, man, y'all have to create a life where y'all can be married and then the kids come in after that, not the other way around.
Right.
Cool. Are you in?
I'm in. Yeah.
Okay. Start this conversation this way. I'm sorry for being quiet. I learned at a young age to be quiet, and I promise to start being more honest with you. Start like that. Okay.
Okay.
And your wife will probably say, where's my husband? What'd you do with him?
Yeah,
and hey,
that's probably accurate.
If this goes terrible and it just goes like horribly awry, holler at me and I will announce to the world that I failed you. But I think if you spend some time being honest with yourself and writing stuff down for the first time, and then you read that letter to her and you've done the hard work of getting babysitters, clearing the deck so that y'all can have these conversations, And then you say, hey, I've already got us a hotel room, or I've already got us a date night, and we're going to start putting it on the calendar. You start down that road that way, and I'm convinced things will turn around for you. Thank you for being honest, my man. You are among millions of men just like you trying to figure out what to do to help their wives be okay. And it often starts with us just being honest for the very first time.